ready for liftoff. Live from Laurelwood Golf Course in Eugene. The best guests.
Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Josh Pate, Melissa Lombardi, Travis Demers, the mayor of Rip City.
Smart, informative talk.
I think Dan Lanning sitting in his office going, you know what, fine, give us the toughest road to win the national championship. That's what it should be.
Teams that have the ability to take a punch in the mouth and move forward. And I think this Beavers team, they've shown that they can do that.
And a few detours.
Sean Penn doesn't look great right now.
A lot of breaking news. I had to throw that in there.
I had to throw the Sean Penn thing in there because it just shocked me.
The long wait is over. The fastest 60 minutes in sports is on the air. It's Danny Havel.
We literally could talk for 3 hours and we would not be able to catch our breath.
Justin Grossweiler.
You stole my line.
Golf, green grass, and a foamy beverage.
All you got to do is just tap it in.
Danny and Justin starts now, live from Laurelwood Golf on Fox Sports Eugene and Newport.
Hello, neighbors, and welcome high atop the first tee and the ninth green at Laurelwood Golf Course in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. This is the Danny and Justin radio program. They let us out of the cage for a day a week in the summertime just because they have to. Otherwise, we're just like, we're yanking on the chain. We want to get out of the studio. Tag team partner Justin Grossweiler sitting right there. Abby is back in the studio. Welcome, friends. You can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Danny and Justin. We have a big show for you today. We have Brenden O'Meara, the author of The Front Runner, the story, the life of Steve Prefontaine, to join us. He's out here at Laurelwood. He will be autographing some books for you. He will also be giving you a little insight to his background and his story and how he built this book from the ground up. It was a process that took 3 to 4 years, and now it's finally out there, and you can buy it everywhere. We'll be talking to him in just a moment. It's trade deadline in a couple of hours in Major League Baseball. We've got Oregon State Media Day for football. We'll hear from Malik Murphy and Trent Walker, Anthony Hankerson, Nico Taylor, Kai Wallen, all in this first segment, and a few surprises along the way. But first, let me bring in my tag team partner, Justin Grossweiler. We call him Baby J. What a boy!
Well, it's a very exciting day today, not just because we're out at Laurelwood, but because we're also tracking the MLB trade deadline. And if you're an MLB fan, this is always an exciting day. Well, it can be for some. And some teams, if you're rooting for a team that's a seller, maybe it's not so exciting. But I think if you're just a baseball fan, there's always the craziness of a big trade going down. And it's one of the bigger days in the sport, I think, because of how the power shifts.
Well, and one thing that I've noticed already is that there are several teams that are in contention that aren't making any moves right now, or at least not moves that have been announced yet.
Right. Well, we have 2 hours until the deadline, just under 2 hours, and so we'll be hearing about moves right around then, actually, right about that 4:05
There'll be a flurry
mark
of activity.
Yeah, we'll hear, or we'll start to hear that there's nothing coming in, and then all of a sudden something does come in. So it's all kind of hit or miss at this point. It seems like a lot of the bigger moves have kind of already been made. Eugenio Suarez ends up with the Seattle Mariners, which is in a way kind of hilarious because they basically salary dumped him just 2 seasons ago after he didn't perform extremely well for them, and particularly in his second season with the Mariners. He's back, and he's coming off of a first half of an all-star season, and so we'll see what he does. You had Shane Bieber going to the Blue Jays, and then, of course, Carlos Correa is going back to the Houston Astros, which is something that was talked about pretty recently, but definitely something that wasn't on my bingo card in terms of moves that would happen. So now Houston, they get Jesus Sanchez as well from the Miami Marlins. So they've been making moves. I think that the Houston Astros are a really well-run organization. They're always one of those teams that are in the hunt, and you can't really count them out, and they've done a lot of good things here at the deadline.
Well, and the Mariners welcome back a player that they got rid of a little bit ago, and they bring back their third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, comes back.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. They just 2 seasons ago, they salary dumped him.
So
they got rid of him, and now they're spending top prospects to get him back. And of course, he is going to help them. They do become, I think, more of a contender because of that. You can have a one guy change the lineup. If you have a bunch of really good players but need a superstar, and then you add a superstar to that lineup, it really can make a big difference. I'm just interested to see how he'll actually perform with Seattle because, again, as I said, he played there for 2 seasons. There's something to be said about, you're playing in a ballpark every day. You're seeing the same backdrop as a hitter every day. The dimensions are definitely key for this. Some guys pull the ball more. Some guys like to hit the ball the opposite way. They perform better and worse in different ballparks. So I'm not sitting here and saying he's not going to perform at the level he has, but I'm just interested because we just saw him there, and all of a sudden now he's this missing piece for this team that is trying to contend for a World Series and has had great pitching, but has needed that bat.
The Danny and Justin radio program live from Laurelwood. We'll be out here in the fastest 60 minutes in sports. You can also, as you can see, follow us on YouTube or on Twitter. You have the live stream up there, so you can see us live. Wave to the kids, Justin. Just wave to your fans all the way out there in video land. That's great radio, by the way, when you wave at somebody who's not being able to see you. But out there on the Twitterverse and YouTube, you can follow us there. Coming up in just a few moments, we'll have Brenden O'Mara. We've got Nick, one of the proprietors, out here at Laurelwood. He'll be jumping on here in a second to talk about food and beverage specials. But first, let's jump into Oregon State as they had their media day, Oregon State football, and they had, I would say, a energized practice from what we saw. Yeah. It looked like everybody was bouncing around. Of course, the first full day of being able to get into pads and such, so that brings a little different energy level. But we're going to start with Malik Murphy and the transfer from Duke because he has really, really got a spotlight on him in this Oregon State offense that struggled mightily last year. And for Trent Bray and Ryan Gunderson, Trent Bray going to be concentrating more on the defense and kind of letting Ryan Gunderson loose with this offense where he's not trying to do everything.
No, I think it makes sense. And I think that Malik Murphy, as it seems, is embracing that role as the guy on this offense. And we'll hear from him in a second. But certainly there's going to be a lot of pressure on him coming into the season, and he's going to have to embrace that. And he's going to have to – I think you have to enjoy that. You have to have fun with it. You have to know that with great expectations is great opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm excited to see how he handles this fall camp. It's going to be important for them to get some chemistry between these guys. They've had some work in the offseason, obviously, but we'll start to be able to see what they're going to do.
And Malik Murphy was asked. Now, he came since he was a transfer and I believe had all of the paperwork done early. So he was one of the early window transfers. Which is always good. So he was there in the spring as well. So he was asked, what's the key between spring and now upcoming to the fall?
I think communication was key, honestly. Being the new guy on the block, it was kind of hard to speak the team's language at first, I'll say. So that takes into account me just learning the system, learning everything that I need to know to be a good quarterback for the team. So communication was key for me, for sure.
So communication, obviously, with a new quarterback and a new group for him and for the other players on the team and his receiving corps, especially Anthony Hagerson in the backfield. So Murphy was asked what stands out about this new Beaver group.
Just being able to spend time with him, honestly, out here in Corvallis, there's not really much for me to do besides hang out with the guys. So I've been able to spend time with almost everybody on the team, no matter it's like bowling or just chilling at the crib playing a game. So honestly, being together and being able to, learn what every person likes and what they don't like and kind of just figure them out from a player's and a person's standpoint has been good over summer.
And I think the unit that we're most interested to see how he'll gel with is this receiving unit. Of course, Trent Walker comes back after a breakout season, 900 yards. Darius Clemens, the transfer last season, or 2 seasons ago, I should say, from Michigan, who certainly has a lot of potential. We saw flashes of it last season. Taz Reddix is a guy that's expected to do a lot of things. So it's interesting to hear what Malik Murphy has to say about what he sees in this receiving unit as well.
I think they could be special. It takes a unit. Definitely, it's going to take me being really good as well. So I think as long as we all do our job and put our best foot forward, we could be really good.
The Danny Justin radio program live from Laurelwood Golf Course. And if you have a hankering for some great 5-star food, come on out and join us at the pub. If you're not going to play golf today, that's fine. There's more room for all of us out there on the golf course. But you can enjoy a frosty beverage and some great food. And we'll talk to Nick Sams in a moment about what's on the menu today here at the pub at Laurelwood. So we're talking Oregon State football here on the Danny and Justin radio program and listening to Malik Murphy, the new transfer quarterback from Duke, who was traveled as well to Texas, coming to Oregon State in his first season as a redshirt junior.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Danny. He has an interesting path because he was a big Texas recruit and was a guy that a lot of teams were going after. Ended up going to Texas, wasn't able to start there. Of course, they've had a lot of good quarterbacks over there in the last couple seasons, so it made sense for him to go over to Duke. And I would say that it was a learning experience in his first season starting in college football. And for Duke, he threw for 26 touchdowns, but did have 12 interceptions. But it's interesting now because he's heading into his next season. He can build on that. So what did he learn from last season now coming into this season?
Yeah, I just got to mature, honestly. That was my first year kind of starting as a full-time quarterback in college. I think it was huge. It was a big stepping stone for me to kind of get those games under my belt. So now going into this season, I could kind of not know what to expect, but I have a pretty good feel for the game. You know what I'm saying? I could be more efficient, and I'm able to watch myself and see what I did on tape that I could improve on and be better this upcoming season.
The biggest challenge always for a quarterback coming from a transfer from a portal situation or even incoming freshman who might be expected to start is how do you adjust to a wildly different offense than what you had? And at Duke, starting at Texas, going to Duke, the offenses are going to be wildly different. I don't think there's going to be a ton of comparisons between the Blue Devils were doing and what Ryan Gunderson wants to do at Oregon State. So Murphy was asked as well on how he's grasping this offense under Ryan Gunderson.
Yeah, no doubt. Honestly, my coaches have done a tremendous job helping me throughout the summer with them. They were away. Of course, coaches aren't here the whole time, but just staying in touch with me, making sure I'm on my A game and being able to go into PRPs and each workout knowing what I'm doing. I'm not behind at this point in time.
And on the opposite end of what his passes are going to be, Malik Murphy's going to be thrown to guys like Trent Walker. So what does Trent Walker have to say about his relationship with Malik and his quarterback so far?
Yeah, it's been great with Malik. Throughout the winter, spring, and even the summer, we just got to know each other on a personal level, which helps with when we get on the grass. So Malik's a great dude. I think we got real close. He's a hell of a quarterback, too.
And how many times did they get to practice together? It seems like quite a lot because they were both around in Corvallis. So, Trent, how many times did you guys get to practice together each week?
Probably 6 times a week in the summer. Yeah, we went at it this summer. We wanted to attack the summer a little bit differently because we wanted a different result this season, so we had to do something different.
6 times a week, Danny, that's a lot.
And so I think that also gives you now kind of a snapshot and a peek into how these guys in the offseason for Oregon State, and listen, they're playing the independent schedule again. They're going to have their backs up against the wall. They finally got the 8th football member into the Pac-12, so now they know that they're going to be eligible next year for the college football playoff. But I think much like what Mitch Canham's squad did at Oregon State, playing an independent schedule, I think the Beavers are saying, you know what? Why not? Let's see if we can get to 10 wins. Let's see if we can pull an upset. Let's see if we can get some eyeballs on our program. And so this combination of Trent Walker and Malik Murphy could be something that could be very exciting for the folks in Corvallis and for Trent Walker, who's coming off of a season that was really ho-hum for him. What are the limits that he is going to put on himself?
Yeah, I hope to just continue to build on what I did last year. I don't want to put a ceiling on myself or anything like that. I don't want to put unneeded pressure. I want to stay consistent. I want to get stronger, faster, and make plays.
But he's also a guy, too, that is now dealing with some expectations. So how is he dealing with those expectations that are on him?
Yeah, it's a lot different from my past few years here. I mean, I was a walk-on, so no one really expected anything from me. This year, kind of, like you guys said, like some people are expecting some big-time things from me. So I'm trying to just avoid that and go out there and continue to make plays and continue to keep that chip on my shoulder.
Let's stay on the offensive side, and a big piece of that offense is going to be in the backfield. Anthony Hankerson, who got dinged up near the end of the year because, honestly, he was trying to carry the load in the offense in the backfield after his backfield mate got injured like 3 games into the season. So Anthony Hankerson also talks about Malik Murphy and the presence that he brings to that offensive backfield.
Definitely, we definitely got high hopes or high standards for the offense going into this year. Just being able to be balanced, being able to pass the ball, being able to run it as well, and especially having Malik, it's definitely a big, major factor. He's a guy, experienced guy, knows what he's talking about, and he's going to put the ball where it needs to be.
Let's move to the other side of the ball where It's going to be a little bit different this season with Trent Bray leading the defense, getting his fingerprints more on that side of the ball. So Nico Taylor on what Trent Bray has been doing leading the defense early on so far in camp.
Yeah, you could definitely feel his energy, his passion for the game, and in meetings today, he's raising his voice a little bit. Not that he's mad at us, but he wants the best out of us. So you can feel the energy, and then obviously the scheme's a little different. So yeah, you can feel him.
We talk about a lot in the portal as well, and Trent Bray's staff really went in and was very selective on who they wanted to get in the transfer portal. And I think we discussed this yesterday, Justin. One of them is a kid from Nebraska called Kai Wallen. We'll hear from Kai Wallen in just a second on why he chose Oregon State. But if you take a look at it, I think we discussed this yesterday. You take a look at the stat line, you go, oh, wow, half a sack, why are they going after it? But it's about the pieces that fit into the defense that I think Trent Bray was looking for. And so Nico Taylor talks about how Kai Wallen fits in to that Bray defense.
Yeah, he's an excellent pass rusher. I mean, he went JUCO too, and we went on a few visits together, so I have a little bit of knowledge of who he is even before he got here. So, he does everything the right way as far as pass rush, and he's very quick, and he can bend the corner a little bit better than a lot of guys. So, he's great.
Kai Wallen, an interesting path to Oregon State. Coming out of JUCO, went to Nebraska, and then now he's coming to Oregon State. So why did he choose Oregon State?
I think that the familiarity of Trent Bray was big. He was the DC when I visited here out of JUCO. I loved his stuff. I loved his energy, how he coaches, and his defense, his philosophy, stuff like that. So just coming back and seeing him in the head coach spot, but still being super active in the defense. This is before he took over that role as DC too. That was super big for me. I love the coaching staff that they had as well. Like, I know Coop from Sacramento. He's a local guy. So just, connections everywhere that I didn't know until I got here, and it's just such a fun defense to play in.
And it just goes to show it's another example of why relationships and stability with guys that you meet with and are recruiting onto your campus, you might not get them onto your campus and sign now, but you never know, because in a couple of years they could be available.
So we talked about the over-under on Oregon State wins and losses. I think we're settled right in that 8-9 area for Oregon State this year. And so it's going to be a much better year. It's going to be bowl eligible this year. And for Trent Bray's squad, I think that would be anything less than 8 wins, I think would be a massive disappointment in Corvallis.
I would agree. I think that that 8.5 win mark is probably the over-under, right, for us. And I think we're both sort of leaning around 9, right?
I think we were at that. I think 8.5 was the number I think Vegas has got them at, so I'm going to take the over on that.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over, too.
All right, so here we go. Hey, and look who we got. It's Nick Sams here, joining us on the little radio program, one of the proprietors, and runs that front of house upstairs at the pub at the Laurelwood. And he likes to come on every single week because, you know what, he hosts us here. So, Nick, how's it going, buddy? So, hold on a second. Let's turn on your microphone so you can talk. There you go. I know you can hear this week.
All right.
I know you can hear this week because I tested it out before.
It'd be crazy if they both worked. I mean, we just do it. How are we doing today, boys? Good to have you as always.
Yeah, we're doing awesome.
I lost track of Malik Murphy. I didn't realize he chose Corvallis. He's a stud. That guy's
really good.
They invested some NIL in him, and so there's some pockets there from that old Pac-12 money that they got. So
the baseball team's got to bring in some dough too, so you got to spread that around.
You would think, you would hope, but we'll see. All right, so what do we got? The food specials today, because obviously I keep pumping it up. 5-star. My wife and I came out and had the smoked meatloaf last week, which was awesome. She had the poke bowl, which was awesome. She cleaned that up. We were posting it on social media. So what do we got today?
Well, we're going to do it quick today because I know we got a big packed show. I'm excited to get the author on. I know Susan is going to come on, and she's pretty amazing. So I'll just hit you with a lot of information really quickly. This tasty beer you're enjoying, that is a collaboration between Fort George and the Beer Stein. That's called the Steinbender IPA. So nice and light on the front.
Tasty.
And distributed, of course, by the wonderful Bigfoot Beverages. I wanted to remind everyone that time is running out to sign up for the Kids Golf Camp. August, that starts up again. Remember, that's 2 hours a day, age groups Monday and Tuesday. It's $150 for the entire month. You find Jacob on Keep Golf Simple, and he'll get your kids out there playing. The unforeseen bonus that I got out of it this week was after a few weeks, the kids are good enough to play 9. So when my son walks the 3 mile around the course carrying his bag, he is exhausted at the end of this class. So it's a nice nap. I get on the laptop, and we get some work done from home. And Friday night, The
Yep.
smoke show. That's what
Yep.
everyone's waiting for, right? It is the smoked chicken skewers. We're serving those over a bed of white rice, some locally sourced roasted vegetables, and we're going to finish it off this time with, and I'm going to mess this up, gochujang pepper sauce.
You did pretty well.
Yeah, well, I tried to write it out phonetically, but I'm not good at writing that either. So it's about as close as I'm going to get. But the fine professionals that will be working Friday night will be able to pronounce that for you a little better than I did.
And again, a big shout out to our good friends at Bigfoot Beverages, your good friends at Bigfoot Beverages. They are a huge sponsor of this program, and one of the reasons we are out here, the main reason we are out here at Laurelwood Golf Club every single week throughout the rest of the summer. So we've got the entire month of August right in front of us. A lot of exciting stuff coming up with Will heading over to the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
We're going to be hearing live from him. We've got all the food and beverage specials, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can tune in to us on the YouTube channel and on Twitter, but you can come out here for just a meal. As I said, if you don't want to play golf that day, just come on upstairs. It's it's like Cheers upstairs, which the cast of characters is amazing. You could literally have a sitcom upstairs.
The build-out was always just growing up in fine dining and move around between restaurants was how do we get that quality of food, but with the atmosphere that you actually want to hang out and spend your day in. Well, then that ends up getting tied up into a golf course and a community place. Now, I mean, you get here at 8 a.m. with your dog, your kid, your wife, your partner, whatever it is. You got breakfast, play 9, come out, enjoy yourself, come back in for dinner. You lose a whole day here real quick.
All right, Nick, thanks, buddy. We appreciate
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thanks for coming out here.
Good to
As
see you, boys.
always,
See ya.
as we're out here at Laurelwood Golf Club, the greens are in great shape. The course is in great shape. And we think that you would have a great time out here with us any day of the week, not just on the days that we are here, but on the days that everyone is here out having a good time. It's not just us. It's you as well coming out here on the Thursdays when we're here, right? We do that. And then, look, it's Susan Heisey, one of our great friends from Susan Heisey Real Estate, from Bailey and Heisey Real Estate, joining us. Susan,
Hi.
welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So we got hooked. You just strolled by after one of our shows,
Yeah.
and you were so kind, and you just said, listen, I want to get involved. I love that. So introduce yourself to our listening audience first. There's Justin. This is
Hi.
Susan.
Justin,
Hi.
nice to see you again.
So talk about your background and what you provide for the folks in South Eugene.
Okay, so I own a small real estate brokerage in Southeast Eugene. If you're familiar with the area, it's at Amazon Corner, which is right by Provision South. The brokerage has been around for over 30 years. I've owned it for over 10. I've been practicing real estate for over 20. And, you know, we're small, we're independently owned, and we're just by design trying to work with a handful of clients at a time. And our stated purpose is to help people make informed and smart real estate decisions. So just like you would advise with your other trusted advisors, like your attorney or your CPA
Right.
or whatever, that we are your real estate advisors.
Well, and it's wonderful to have you out here. So obviously, your love of this golf course and the people out here runs very deep. So talk about your history with Laurelwood.
My history. Okay, well, I have a fun story. I'll try to keep it short. But my first romance here was 25 years ago. We had a baby, and, you know, a nursing new mother gets maybe 1 hour to themselves.
Okay.
We live 10 minutes away.
Okay.
So my husband and I had taken a couple golf lessons, and, you know, I had a couple sticks, so I had enough to be dangerous. And I would run out here and hit a bucket of balls.
Okay.
And this backdrop is just so gobsmackingly relaxing.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, I'm just
it's
showing the height of it right now.
And it was just a really killer way to spend an hour and kind of regroup. And have you all talked about the tram?
No, not yet.
Okay, so for those of you who have been around a long time, like 25 years, there used to be a tram, and so to get down to the driving
Practice area,
range,
right.
and it was slow as snot. So I mean, you would you'd push the button and you'd wait, and the thing would come chugging up, and then you'd get on, and it would go real slow. You could walk it much faster, but it was fun, and it was just like embellishing the whole experience. And then you'd hit a bucket of balls, and then you'd take the tram, push the button, and it would take you
back up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Susan, we look forward to getting to know you better as we go out throughout the rest of this little journey we have through the end of this year and into next year. Look forward to next week getting out and swinging the sticks with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I see you brought your clubs today.
Yeah,
How's your game?
I'm heading out at 3 with the mayor.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You'll get 2 words in edgewise, I'm sure, by the time you get to the fourth hole.
We've known each other a million years. We'll have all kinds of crazy talk. Okay, thanks for having me on,
Susan.
and
Thank
we'll
you.
see you again in the future.
Okay,
all
there
right.
she goes, the great Susan.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One more shout out for Jacob. Taking lessons with him, he's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to have Jacob on with our tip at the end of the program like we always do. Thanks, Susan. As we get ready to head to break, when we come back, we're going to talk about Steve Prefontaine with the author of The Frontrunner, The Life of Steve Prefontaine, right here at Laurelwood Golf Club on Fox Sports Eugene and Newport. It's the Danny and Justin radio program. Back in a moment. Fox Sports Eugene and Newport. All right, little Ozzy. They got a great voice, man. Him and the Hulkster. Can you see them arriving at the same time at the pearly gates? Holy smokes. Thanks for tuning in, friends, wherever and however. We're live at Laurelwood Golf Club. Jacob will be coming up shortly with our pro tip around 2:45 here. Dad joke as well. We have already run down the Beavers Media Day and had a lot of good audio. A great job. But again, thanks to the judge, John Warren, who really saved us with the audio because the presser was a little late, and we were up there just waiting. We had to come down and do a show. So thanks again to the judge, John Warren, for helping us out. So let's welcome in, and on the YouTube channel you can see right here in between us, it's Brenden O'Meara. Brenden O'Meara, welcome, sir, the author of The Frontrunner, The Life of Steve Prefontaine. Going to be out here from 3 to 6 here at Laurelwood, and you're going to be signing your book, and maybe if somebody wants to engage and ask you about the background, you're going to be able to tell them.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a thrill to be here again, and here we are about 2.5 months after we first spoke when the book launched. So, yeah, it's been out there in the world, and now we're just continuing to celebrate it here on this lovely day here.
So wherever people buy their books, it's out there right now, right?
That's right. Yeah. Jay Michaels downtown has a lot of signed stock, and he's going to be the one here selling books on site. And Hodgepodge Books downtown, this new bookstore and a tap room too, which is
nice,
really, really cool.
Yeah,
they have signed and stamped copy as well.
Okay, so how's the reaction been? I mean, obviously you're probably just overwhelmed and humbled by the response you've gotten. I finally finished it a couple of weeks ago. I was on a plane going back and forth, so I had like 5.5 hours to kill. So I was able to knock some things out, put my noise-canceling headphones on, and block the world out. What a great read. So what's the response been?
The response has been really overwhelmingly positive. I don't touch Amazon reviews or Goodreads. I don't even look, just because just the nature of the human mind. You could have 99 very nice reviews, and you'll get that one bad one.
And does that twist you up a little bit when it happens?
Oh yes. There's one particular negative review from a book I wrote 14 years ago that is still stuck in my craw that I can't get over. So I'm going to turn away from it. But really, the most satisfying feedback I've got is from some of the people who ran with Steve himself. I got an email a couple weeks ago from Scott Daggett, who was a miler in the mid-1970s at the U of O. Was a really, really, really fast miler and pushed Steve a lot in practice. Steve loved that about Scott. He could really push him, and he wrote me. He's just like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but he's like, the research you did and the amount of people you talked to was incredible. The stories you tell are great, and I must say I'm learning some things about Pre I never knew. And he also really captured his popularity, and the fact that there are people like him who ran with him and knew him and was friends with him, and they're learning new things about this person. That speaks to that just warmed my heart to hear that from someone like him.
And from what I remember last time, you were saying that you had a lot of information that you were trying to delve through. Was there a point where you were you almost struggled to figure out how you're going to get all the information that you had available to you into a story, into a narrative?
That's exactly right. The very rough draft was super bloated. A lot of races in there that didn't make the cut. A lot of other ancillary characters who I thought were integral to the world building who had a bit more real estate in the story, they kind of slough off and fall by the wayside. As you know, I had a wonderful editor in Matt Harper for this, and so we really shaped it, and you have to constantly interrogate the intention of every chapter of every race. And so naturally, when a particular chapter, let's say it's kind of in the middle of the book, like assertion, if there's not a race in there when he's on the assertive path, that falls off, and you have to start asking yourself, okay, is this race here, what is this saying about the story? What is it saying about his character at this moment? And what is it, ultimately, what is it illustrating? So when you're interrogating the text like that, tens of thousands of words fall off they burn off like on a treadmill.
So I'd be interested. By the way, Danny and Justin live out here at Laurelwood. Brenden O'Meara has penned The Front Runner, The Life of Steve Prefontaine. It's available wherever you buy books, and especially support the local folks if you're here in Eugene. I'm sure there's some places in Newport as well where you can purchase it. So support this local author as well. And you said it took years for you, all the research, the hundreds of interviews that you did. But what I want to find out about is the conflict behind the scenes. You just talked about, you and a wonderful editor that you had. Were there battles that you lost, that you got convinced, I really want this in here, but then it was like, no, you know what, I'm going to listen to a different voice and be able to help sculpt this?
Yeah. The one thing, we never had a contentious relationship, and I pretty much just rubber stamped everything Matt had to say because he's just so astute and has just such a great knack for story. And there was one particular anecdote. It was in 1972, winter 72, this indoor meet. And it gives you an idea of how track and field was covered at the time. It was just so big. And, Steve really towered above so many of the middle distance runners of the time, even in 72, as he was ascending to the Olympics. And in the LA indoor, the LA Times, they hired their track rider to handicap the race and an astrologer, of all things. So the astrologer was going to look to the stars and birth signs, water signs, fire signs to predict the outcome of the race. Jim Ryan was running in a race, and Steve was running in, I believe, the 2 mile. And they pitted these two against each other and to see who would get it right. And I just thought it was so zany and wild. Like, this whole thing needs to be in here. And ultimately, like, Matt was just like, yeah, this is kind of weird and kind of cool, but it's not really moving the story forward. So as a result, when you're dealing with maybe 105,000 words of real estate and you've got this 1,500 word anecdote that is like funny and cool and kind of quirky, at least I can come on the radio and talk about it. But for the purposes of the book, it had to go, and I did shed a tear for that one.
So as you move forward now, what's next?
Yeah, I am. I'm in the book proposal stage for another with my agent. I sent her just 2 days ago mini book proposal. I don't have to do anything as robust as I did with Prefontaine. Since I kind of stuck the landing with this and it's proof of concept, I'm able to just make sure I'm sourced up on this particular topic. I don't want to give it away quite yet. And I know
that's fair.
We love. Now, wait a second. No, stop with that. I don't break news. We don't break news that much on here.
I know. Well, there's no deal in place yet, and I have been scooped on stories in the past, and I've had most writers don't steal other writers' ideas, but I've had one stolen in the past.
Okay, so that's fair.
It is fair. That's what I said from the beginning.
Well, all I could say it's a really it's an expansive story, and it's going to tell a big arc, and I will say it's in the baseball milieu.
Oh, you just got his attention. You
just
got Justin's attention right there. It's Brenden O'Meara joining us, the Danny and Justin radio program, live from Laurelwood. Love it out here. You heard from Nick, the smoked chicken skewers this weekend on Friday night with Smoke Friday, Smoke Weekend. And, of course, you've got brunch this weekend. It's a fabulous spread. The pints are flowing up on top, and the golf course is in great shape. I'm going to get out there, swing the sticks a little bit later on today, and we hope you come out and join us here at Laurelwood. What a great family atmosphere as well. Bring your puppy if you want. Bring your dog with you because it is all welcome. All the four-legged creatures are welcome as well out here at Laurelwood. And we're here with Brenden O'Meara, the front runner. The Life of Steve Prefontaine is on sale right now here from 3 to 6 here at Laurelwood. So meet the author in person. Ask him how he gathered all this stuff up. You ever get tired of talking about it? I don't think you would you? Because you poured so much of your life into this.
Exactly. I have to sometimes I have to remind myself that maybe someone person is hearing it for the first time, even though I might have said it 50 times. So I
Sure.
have to be mindful of that and be like, man, I feel like I said this a million times. Like I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but like, oh, someone else sitting across from me, but it might be the first time they're hearing it. But I do love talking about it because it's not just as an author, my name's on the cover, but there's such a big team of people behind it, be it the editor, the agent, copy editors, friends who help support it and read it. So when you're starting to promote the book and talk about the book, you can myopically think it's about you, but you need to celebrate the book for the totality of the people involved. Writing a book is a team sport, and so being on the cover, it's incumbent upon me to celebrate everybody else in the production line and honor the work that they had to help bring this thing to the bookshelves.
I love that. It's a team sport to write a book. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
What is your process? And it doesn't have to just be for this story, but just when you're choosing how you're going to tell a story in terms of the structure of the narrative, how do you, from the beginning, sort of process that? Or is that all those things that you were talking about earlier, like, some things can make it something, you have a collection of ideas and then you have to pull away and kind of figure out, is that process there? Or is there something from the beginning that you do in terms of how you want to structure your narrative?
Yeah, it's great to bring a fresh canvas to each story. Like each story will kind of tell you the structure at once. Though, for the most part, chronology is always your best friend. Just try to tell it, from day one to day whatever, through the end. But I did have an ambitious structure in mind for the front runner right at first, because I'm sure everyone listening has probably seen the Last Dance documentary series with Michael Jordan. And hovering over the top of that entire docuseries is that final season.
Right.
And then it seesaws back and forth in chronology, and then the chronology gradually meets up with the current day, and so far as that narrative is concerned. Steve's Last Dance and the front runner was bringing over this international talent, setting up these series of meets in defiance of the AAU. An athlete setting these things up was unheard of, and in strict defiance of the amateur code of the day. And that, to me, was that was his last dance. All right. So I had that on the top, and then trying to seesaw back and forth where there were these logical jumping off points. It just wasn't strong enough wireframe to hang the whole book on. And so ultimately it ends up being, I think, what is like chapter 15 or something, where maybe it's called Rogue, where he's organizing those meets and executing those meets. That was originally over the top and seesawed back and forth. And through conversation and dialogue, we're like, let's just stick with the chronology, pack all this into one chapter and kind of move on.
So you almost would describe it as the narrative exists in the way that it should be, and you just have to find it.
Yeah. The reporting will often dictate, what's important. The tentpole moments and a thing, you notice that maybe 20 newspapers are covering this thing. All right, that's probably going to be a big story beat. And you just kind of lean in, and like I said, chronology is always your friend. And it's just a matter of trusting the reporting, trusting the research, and going along. And there's never a wasted word, even if it's cut. You just got to throw it all there. If writers talk about a vomit draft, just get it all out, and you can kind of clean it up later.
All right, that's a great.
So when's the audiobook coming out, by the way?
It's already out.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it came. Roger Wayne, I believe, is the voice actor.
Because it hadn't when we had talked the first time yet, right? It wasn't ready yet.
It probably would have been just around that time, probably within a week or two it came out. So, that's available wherever you can buy them. It's on Spotify and everything. So,
All right, we know Spotify. All right. Brenden, thank you very much, buddy. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too. This is always what a pleasure to be here and be in conversation again about the front runner.
Yeah, well, you can see Brenden upstairs in the pub from 3 to 6. I don't know if you're having a pint or not, but you'll be up there. You can autograph, you can meet the author, and support a great local talent as he'll be at the Laurelwood Pub here signing his book today, the author of The Frontrunner, The Life of Steve Prefontaine, available now wherever you buy books. But again, shop local if you can. Don't do the online thing. Just shop local. We got great local people here in Eugene area and in the Newport area. The bookshops that are there, support the local people if you can. Brenden, thank you much again, buddy. We appreciate you.
Pleasure's all mine.
All right, we'll head one more break, and when we come back, we'll get our pro tip from the cooler. Jacob Henderson is waiting in the wings. We'll talk a little bit about what we can do to help the swing. Coming up next on the Danny and Justin radio program here from Laurelwood. The Danny Cheston Radio Extravaganza, the fastest 60 minutes in sports, rolls on here from Laurelwood Golf Course. Dad joke coming up in a moment. Have you back in the studio. I'm Danny. Right over there is Baby J, Justin Grossweiner. Right in the middle of us, if you're watching us on YouTube or Twitter, is Jacob Henderson, the local pro here. Keep golf simple at gmail.com. You can call and text him at 458-895-0782. Is that right? Did I get all that right on the first time? I did that like at 10:30 at night. I was just tapping everything out to make sure I got it. You can see that on the YouTube channel as well.
Professional, yeah.
Well, I'm trying, man. I'm just absolutely trying. So how you been, buddy?
Oh, good. Staying very busy and just trying not to sweat too much.
So let's talk about the camps for the kids first. We talked about it. We just started talking about that last week, but it's still going on. Still time to sign up. Still an opportunity to be able to get in.
Yeah, so we got August junior camp starting next week. So I think it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Ages 6 to 9 on Mondays, 10 to 13 on Tuesdays, and then 14 to 18 on Wednesdays. That's $150 for 8 hours worth of me time and 4 weeks in a row. Learn a lot.
So you can at KeithGolfSimple at gmail.com, or you can call or text. And that's what I love about it. You can text Jacob. He'll get right back to you at 458-895-0782. That's awesome. They get that instruction. It's you break it up by the different age levels as well as what you said, and so everyone gets an opportunity. And the biggest thing and the best thing I think for the kids, they get to go out on the course as well. That's awesome.
Yeah. First 2 weeks, we're working on drills, fundamentals, and then the last 2 weeks, we go out on the golf course for 2 hours. They kind of learn themselves week 3, and then week 4 we end it with a bang and we play a game. Usually we get into partners or a group, and we play some sort of variation of golf that you would as an adult.
Okay. Jacob Henderson, the club pro here at Laurelwood, as he comes on every single week and gives us a tip. So what's our tip for this week, buddy boy?
Yeah, tip this week, I was thinking about it. I'm going to kind of piggyback off a very famous golfer, Cam Smith. He's got a mullet, I got a mullet. So,
okay.
he's one of the greatest putters
he is
on tour right now. So one big thing, with putting, we're trying to create this feeling of a pendulum, of that putter head swinging back and forth with no sort of wrist action at all, because we can't control the speed of our wrists with the weight. So we try to feel when we're rocking our shoulders back, in order to get the putter head back to the ball, we just let the weight go to the golf ball. So Cam Smith talks about this a lot, where he just feels he gets back to his spot and then he just lets the putter fall back to the golf ball. So that will teach us not trying to hit the golf ball, but let it get in the way of the putter face.
All right. So if you feel like you're, people call it the yips or, lining up as well, is that as important as, you see these guys with their hands out and they're doing this whole thing where it's just like I'm trying to I love that dry smile that you've got right now.
That looked like a big no.
Well, I mean, everyone. So honestly, what I heard before is that whatever makes you feel comfortable, wherever you can have your confidence, that's what's important. As long as you have a method and you keep doing it.
Yep.
So does your pendulum? And believe me, I've worked a lot on my putting through the years. It's one part of my game I actually have a lot of confidence in. And you're absolutely right. Having that one movement is absolutely critical. So, but where does as well being able to judge speed and such come into that touch? Is that something that can be taught, or is that something that is just feel?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It is hard to teach that feeling in, say, 60 minutes, because it requires a lot of practice and conscious effort to stop yourself from hitting the golf ball, which is the one thing we want to do. We want to hit the golf ball far, just see where it goes. But with putting, I always get people in a circumference in an area that you're going to make the most amount of putts. Best way to get confident is seeing the golf ball go in. So I actually start every putting lesson off with you're putting from 1 foot away.
Okay.
Just
like a basketball player when they go right to the block and they just do a couple just to see the ball go in.
1,000%. That's kind of the first step in unlocking confidence. But then we pair that feeling to trying to get the golf ball to just roll into the hole on the last rotation. How far back do you have to go? That's a little theory that I actually have worked on. Trying to get a little mathematics for my smart folks that like being tinkers. Analytics. And I can say that there is a true mathematical formula for how far back we take it equates to how far the golf ball will go. Because if we create a pendulum, however far back that putter will go with zero restriction, it'll only travel that far.
So it's all about getting the muscle memory of how far back that club goes.
Yeah.
Depending on the distance.
Think of it from your shoulders. How much do you have to move your shoulders to make the putter go back to create a pendulum? You know, we try and think of it, the shoulders are just rocking up and down, you know, from the pendulum, and our arms are just nice and straight. What does that feeling feel like? If you're struggling with that, throw the putter in your golf bag. Okay? Get the putter out of your hands together, and just rock your shoulders, and then bring that putter in after you feel like you're confident, and then see what your shoulders are trying to do. What does your body want you to do when you have that weight in your hands? But start from a foot away. Just get that golf ball rolling to the center of the hole. See it go in a couple hundred times, move back 2 feet, do it all over again.
Well, and he doesn't just give great advice and great tips. He can also help you work on your clubs. Club fitting, redo grips. We talked about grips a few weeks ago and how important that is. I learned something. I learn something every week when you're on here, Cooler. So that's, by the way, his nickname, if anybody didn't know that, the Cooler. Did you look up the movie, by the way? It wasn't Rebecca De Mornay. It was Maria Bello who was the female lead in The Cooler with William H. Macy and Alec Baldwin. You got to watch that movie.
Of course.
I'm finishing up a TV show right now, and I'm not the...
Which TV show are you watching?
Gotham.
Oh,
okay.
Very nice.
So going through, you know, I'm a big Marvel fan, going through DC, and, you know, I think I'm on close to the last season 4, and it's good.
All right, slide the Cooler in there if you can. All right, buddy. So you can contact Jacob, keepgolfsimple@gmail.com. You can call and text him 458-895-0782. And the Cooler is rocking the old school New England Patriots hat. I love that, man.
Let's go Pats, baby.
Oh, boy. Let's settle down there. Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you.
Attaboy. There he goes, the great Jacob Henderson, the club pro out here at Laurelwood. As Danny, we wind down. What a great day, man. It's an awesome day. And look, by the way, I got to do this online. These are the loaded nachos. If you're looking online, you can see that. These things look incredible.
That's some preparation right there.
Oh, my Lord. I'm not finishing that, so you got to eat at least half of that. You got to take it home, or you got to take it back to the studio with you. I think that'll be just fine.
Okay.
All right, boys and girls. Well, tomorrow on the program, we'll have the hitting instructor for the Eugene Emeralds on the program, as we'll talk. The Emeralds are still just red hot and rolling. They won again last night, and they are on a tear in the second half. And so for our listening audience tomorrow on the program, we're going to have the hitting instructor, Jared Walker, on with us. And then, of course, next Thursday we'll be out here. You're going to be gone for the balance of the week, pretty much. Next week, you'll be on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
I do feel like we have to mention, I don't know if we have, Tank Jones from Alabama, five-star edge. Coming to Oregon, 6'4", 240 pounds, number 18 player according to 24/7 Sports in the class. So that's a big pickup for the Ducks.
And I think was the number 1 player in Alabama.
Correct, and that's one of the things I was going to say. That's why I think this is an interesting one, because Alabama was gunning for him, and he chose the Ducks over Alabama. I saw a lot of comments about bag talks. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that Alabama certainly isn't a program that lacks the funds. So this is a big recruiting win for Coach Lanning and the Ducks, who now have the most 5-star players in the class with 4.
So that's a big get for Dan Lanning's squad. And of course, everybody's in their, it's August, but they're already calling it fall practice. I don't know, it's so summer practice.
I know, that's what I was thinking. It's a little weird.
It's training camp is what it is.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, tonight here on Fox Sports Eugene, it is the Chargers taking on, I think it's the Chiefs, isn't it? The Hall of Fame game? Is it no, it's not the Chiefs.
I don't know. It's not the Chiefs.
I can't forget it. It's somebody else. But you'll hear it right here on Fox Sports Eugene. I should probably know that. Let's do dad joke.
Oh, a joke!
I got fired from the bank today. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her.
Dad jokes!
It's the Lions tonight that they're playing. All right. So it's the Lions and the Chargers tonight here on Fox Sports Eugene. Let's do a quick one here. What kind of shoes do frogs wear? Open-toed sandals. There we go. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. Brenden O'Meara out here from 3 to 6 at Laurelwood. Thanks, Abby. Great job back in the studio. Partner.
Thank you.
Better go, Baby J. We're going to dive into these nachos. Thanks for tuning in. However and wherever. God bless. Be well. Put a smile face someone else. They deserve it. So do you. Peace.